whole new perspective. Like, I'm thinking about taking my glasses off so I can't see you. Because this is really scary. So all you people who've ever been up here and I've been like, hey, you big baby. Okay, we start timing. I'm going to tell, how many people were very, 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 very first tell? By applause? Okay. You guys already heard this, sorry. But this is all I can come up with on short notice. That's fairly clean. So, what? So, my dad is a cop. And as such, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I kind of have a rebellious streak. And I swear it's true. I've always valued questioning, right? Like, yeah, that's the way we've always done it, but can't we do it different? Or just saying fuck you to the rules, basically. It's gotten me in a lot of trouble, but I have some really good stories because of it. The one story that really comes to mind when I think about coming this close is the time that I almost died. Oops. I was a junior in high school. I borrowed Jenny Lutz's 1974 baby blue Pinto. Sweet. She had just gotten a cassette player put in. She was working at McDonald's. And I think she had to work at McDonald's for like 4 months to pay for the installation of a cassette player. And prior to that, I held the boombox as we drove around. So, right? So much Depeche Mode, you have no idea. Let's play Master and... Oh, that's where that comes from. Master and... Okay, anyway. And anybody in this room who's dated me knows. Okay. My doctor's like, we gotta talk about that. Sorry, Daisha. Not surprised, are you? Oh shit, this is going on YouTube. Cat's out of the bag. So it's second hour. I don't even remember what class I had. Clearly I didn't give a shit. And so it wasn't drama. Shocking. And I was getting ready to leave. And Jenny and I had traded clothes that morning because I liked her pants better than mine. And if you've met me, you know that I get what I want. Okay, not always, but used to. So I'm wearing mostly her clothes. I think I even had on her sweater, come to think of it. And, God, we were in high school. I grabbed her keys out of her locker. I told her I was doing it. She's like, okay, just be back before fourth period. I'm like, okay. So I'm leaving, and Danny, guy that spent years trying to remember this guy's last name, and I probably remembered it the first time I told this, but Danny was his first name. He was in my grade. We didn't really hang out. But he had black hair and green eyes and wore a like denim jacket. Like if I ran into Danny today, he'd probably get some based on what he was in high school. Like, wow. I said, he said, where are you going? And I said, I'm gonna go shopping in Pinetop-Lakeside. This is in Show Low, Arizona, in the White Mountains, beautiful. And Pinetop-Lakeside is like 15 minutes away. And they had a yellow front to shop at, which is kind of like, what's the store we went to in rugby, Tam? Pomida, yeah. No Kmart, no Walmart. Seriously. You can ask my best friend, I thought Walmart was fancy for years. So off to yellow front we go, and by the way, I found a full-length denim jumpsuit. Could pop the collar. Awesome. Red velvet, red heels. Oh yeah. So we go. I'm driving. Richard Marx is playing the first album. We flirt because have you met me? And I don't know what possessed me to go the back way. Probably because I thought, like we're gonna pull over and make out or something. I mean, damn, it was hot. And even though we had a bowl haircut, so don't give up on the hair. And we're going through like hairpin. I don't know who snorted, but I love you. Maybe more than Danny. We're going through hairpin curves, and what I maybe haven't mentioned to you guys is that I'm not legally allowed to drive at this point. Fuck your rules. Yeah. Oh, and I also should mention that my mom was a judge. So we're going around a corner, and I reached down because I really don't like that song, Angelia. Do you guys remember this? I'd sing it, but I hate that song. It was no should have known better. I'll tell you that right now. So I reach down and, it's a new cassette player. I don't really know what I'm doing. And when I don't know what Danny was doing either. And I look up and we're going around the corner and it's woods, forest. Like, in fact, Indian reservation is on one side and state forest on the other. Can I pick them or what? And I look up and there is a garbage truck in my lane coming around the corner, passing a Mercedes. And I'm like, and I remember thinking this very clearly, car, truck, tree. Tree. I'm really good under pressure. Jumped a ditch, hit a tree. And by hit a tree, I mean broke the gas line. I mean straight arm the steering wheel. I mean that I still have a righteous scar that you can only feel it if your tongue's in my mouth, but find me on Facebook. My mother's gonna be so proud. And I remember that was the worst of my injuries, the first one that I was really aware of, because I had it's like grass or something in my lip, and I went to go pull it out, and I heard it stretch and pop. Don't ever do that. It's gross. And then later the doctor said that it was like onion skin. He held a flashlight under it and pulled it out. He said you could see through it. You know what? Next Throwback Thursday, I will post the picture that was taken 6 weeks after this accident. And my hair was awesome. It wasn't. So everything comes to a standstill. And I remember hearing birds chirping. And I remember thinking, how can you chirp right now? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I remember fucking Richard Marx, Angelia. And I'm like, okay, that has to stop. And then I realized that my knees are like in the dashboard. And I'm like, oh. And I realized I have a passenger. And I look, and Danny's looking at me like obviously dazed. I imagine that he probably hit the windshield or we wore seatbelts, but come on. The 74 Pinto even have seatbelts? I have no idea. And he reached over and turned off the song, and then we made eye contact. And the first thing out of my mouth, and if you know me, you know that I've been a very, very selfish person for a very long time, and this is proof. I looked at him and I said, you have to say you were driving. Judge me, I get it. I get it. Crystal, I feel like you should come up here and vouch for me now. And it turns out that Danny didn't really hang out with other people because he came from a very abusive home with a very, very violent alcoholic father. And he said, I would, but I can't. I gotta go. And he left. He took off running through the woods. So I'm left there. Oh, and you know what else? He had reached over and turned off the ignition. Thank God. So I stumble out. The passenger side is the only door that worked. So I got out and I walked back and I see gasoline flooding out of the car. And the first thing I thought was, that's why you turned the ignition off. I don't know if he actually knew there was gas, but and then I thought, I gotta sit down. But I knew, like, I'd watched enough like Rockford Files that I knew I had to get away from the car. Even as a 6-year-old, I thought he was hot. I should maybe see my shrinks more. Anyway, so I go and I sit at the edge of like on the ditch, kind of propped up and trying to hold the world still, and start like taking stock. And I realize that like my pelvis hurts really bad, and that my knees weren't quite working right, and like everything hurt. And then I did one of these and was like, oh, that's not menstrual. So that's the first thing I thought. Sorry, John. No, that's how I knew it wasn't menstrual blood, because it was on my face. Do we need to talk about how that happens? There's a dentist here.
I don't get it.
I feel like I should tell the YouTubers, somebody just said, I don't get it. I'll explain it later. So I'm sitting there, and this woman in a BMW, it's a really snooty country, like everybody had a fancy car, I guess, except for me, or Jenny. She like cruises up, and she stops, and she's got like a Zach Morris phone. And she goes, are you okay? And I remember thinking, you have the worst eyebrows and the ugliest lipstick I've ever seen. Like, to this day, orange lipstick gives me flashbacks. So, judge me some more, what the hell. And she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't really, I point to the car, I don't think so. She's like, should I call somebody? Yeah. So she dials and drives away. Not a nurse is my assumption. I don't know. She probably had to be at the country club with Muffy and Buffy. Wow, you guys are really getting to see who I am tonight. So I eventually lie down because the world wants me to lie down. And I remember hearing sirens in the distance. And I remember thinking, oh, thank God that's for me. And segue, my little sister is now a paramedic. And every time I text her and she just flips on a call, I think, I hope somebody hears you coming. Anyway. So I'm lying there, and maybe I blacked out, I don't know. All of a sudden, I realized that there's like 8 firemen around me. Hi. Yeah. Shortly thereafter, I decided not to be a virgin anymore. Anyway. That is not an I came this close story. My best friend is dying up here. So, they somehow moved me so that my legs aren't down in the ditch anymore. And I'm lying there, and there's a man holding my head, and they're conversing, and they're, taking stock and doing all this and doing that, and the man holding my head is wearing a different jacket than everybody else, and I'm thinking, that's really weird. I'm a cop's kid, man, like I know uniforms. And then I realize it's because he's the chief of the fire department. And I go, oh, okay, it's gonna be bad. So he's holding my head, and he's so kind. I remember thinking, oh, he must have kids. He must have a daughter. He's holding my head, and he says, hi, sweetie. And I said, hi. And he says, what's your name? And I said, Laura. And he goes, okay, but I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, Laura. Is that okay? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And he says, where's your driver's license? I don't have one of those. He goes, okay, that's not a problem. Where's your permit? I don't have one of those either. Okay. Do you have a wallet or a purse? Yeah. Okay, where is it? Can we go get it? Well, it's in my locker. But it might be in Glenda's locker because I'm really not sure because we all share. And he's like, okay. So he's holding my head. He might have been losing patience. I don't know. And he says, okay, so spell your first name for me. I am a cop's kid. To this day, if you ask me to spell something and I'm not regulating myself, I will say, Lincoln, Adam, Union, Robert, Adam. His eyes widen, and he looks at all the other guys. Conversation stops. He goes, that's pretty good. What's your middle name? And I said, Lynn, Lincoln, Young, Nora, Nora. They start tittering. His eyebrows are like riding his hairline. And he goes, okay, what's your last name? And I said, Slaughter. He said, Slaughter? I said, Slaughter. He said, spell it. I said, Sam, Lincoln, Adam, Union, George, Henry, Tom, Edward, Robert. He said, as in John and Mary? I said, yes, sir. He drops my head. Oh, you're in deep shit. My suspicions were confirmed. So some hot paramedics show up, and it was like Rescue 911. You remember that show? Everybody was hot. Navajo County, Arizona. What up? And actually, my first boyfriend, hi Farron, is a firefighter up there. Still super hot. And hi, his wife. He's beautiful, and they make gorgeous babies, I might add. God bless him. So, get to the hospital. I make the paramedic hold my hand on the way there because I'm actually scared. And the best way, I'm going to tell you guys this right now, if there's ever an emergency and I can't calm down, sing with me. I love to sing. Totally off key, Lori knows. But that calms me down. So he held my hand and we sang the bear song. Do you guys know the bear song? The other day I met a bear, a great big bear in tennis shoes. Cheep, cheep, ha ha. I'll teach it to you later. It's a call and response. It's super fun. He picked it up like that. Super smart. And I hear them calling in on the radio, right? I hear the driver doing this. And I hear my dad check in. I hear Navajo 29. I'm like, oh, God. about 29, go ahead. Now about 29, I'll be 10-7 at whatever the name of the hospital was. I'm like, oh, that's really bad. And she says, 10-4, call your, I don't remember what the thing for spouse is. Call your 101, which means call your woman. So obviously my mother had already heard and was calling. So I get to the hospital, I get on the stretcher, and I go. And I'm starting to think, you know what, maybe I'm okay. I'll be fine. It'll be okay. I'm just... They said no. And by this time, I'm in a C-collar. I'm on a spine board thing. God, my sister's going to watch this and be like, it's called a... yeah, that. The ironing board, I got it. And they do all kind. They pull the lip. Oh God, they cut Jenny's pants. And y'all, my ass looked good in those. It was okay. Mine fantastic. And I remember saying, cut up the seams! Destroyed them. And they started to cut up the sweater, and I was like, no, unbutton it. And they had a chick do it. Disappointing. She had chin hairs. And I remember making fun of that for years, which tells me that that's why I have goat hair now. Fuck you, Karma. I'm kidding. So they do all this stuff. They X-ray, they MRI, and I'm broken. Like, I got shit wrong. And cracked my pelvis. It was just icky. You know, you're gonna be in for at least 2 or 3 days. Okay, great. They finally leave. I got lines in, monitors here, everything there. They left me alone in the room. I hear beeping. I hear dripping. I hear beeping. And then I hear the most single terrifying sound I have ever heard in my life. And to this day, this will give me more than heartburn. The sound of my father's boot steps on linoleum with his leather of his uniform slapping. You're a cop's kid, you know this. Uh-huh. Brass and leather. Kill me now. And all he does is he comes to the side of the bed, and he does this thing. Does your dad do this? So my dad is like typical cop. Mustache, right? Wire rim glasses. Chewing the gum. Rocking. Yeah, oh yeah. My dad's a bad motherfucker. I tell you what, you do not want to mess with this man. He's like 60, I don't even know how old dad is. 68, 69 years old. He can still kick all of our asses. He is the law. And he's got his thumbs hooked in his belt loops, and he's doing this over me, looking down. And he does this thing where he does look down, like through, like he's wearing readers, or maybe he was at that point. And he goes, how you doing? And I said, I'm in pain. He said, good. And those were the last words my father spoke to me for 6 months. And I'm an extrovert and a daddy's girl. That was the worst punishment I could have ever gotten. In the middle of that 6 months, and I think it was like 3 months later-ish, I was in a play. Where I wore the denim jumpsuit, thank you very much. All of my hair pushed over to one side. What? And I gotta find those pictures. And I'm on stage, and I see a glint, like in the back of the theater. It was a huge high school theater. And I see like this weird glint, and I think, I gotta see what that is. And so, in the scene, I finally get to a part on the stage where I can see it is my father, who has not spoken to me for 3 months and will not speak to me for 3 more months, in uniform, standing in the back of the auditorium. Okay. And then I proceeded to break my front tooth on a vodka bottle on stage. It was water, it was fine. So, fast forward to, my sister's gonna bitch at me for getting this wrong. It was either 2 or 3, was it 2 or 3 years, Crystal? Dad's heart attack. My dad had a heart attack. 2 years, yeah. 3 years, yeah, okay. It doesn't matter. I get a call, right? I'm grumping around that day. My life sucks. I don't have a job. And by don't have a job, I mean I worked freelance, but because I wasn't working like a W-2, I felt worthless. That's bullshit. I'm done with that. Can I get a yes, Drew? And I get this call from his wife, and she's hysterical. John's had heart attacks. I'm sorry, did you just say plural? Yeah, you gotta come. I'm on it. Call my now ex-husband, who makes all of the arrangements. I get on a plane, I go to Kingman, Arizona. fly into Las Vegas, rent a car, drive an hour and a half, don't even realize that I'm driving over the new dam, or the new bridge over the Hoover Dam. Just go. Like, I didn't even stop at Carl's Jr. for my usual. Western bacon cheeseburger, zucchini, seriously do it. I get to Kingman Regional Hospital, and my little sister is already there. And I walk in, and my little sister, the toughest she is, father's daughter, I tell you what, she's crying. Okay, that's bad. Her fiancé, now husband, whose birthday is today, is propped up against a wall, obviously being like a rock. You can tell that's his job. He gets it. That's why he's here. My older sister was not in the country, so it was just the two of us. And I tried to act really grown up, I guess. I don't really know what I was going for, except for just to not freak out. Like, I didn't want to be the hysterical one. And so I go into like business mode of, okay, who's the doctor? May I speak with him? No. Okay, who's the head nurse? He has a specific nurse? Super. Okay, this is what are those three emergency, like ICU? Good Lord, sorry that took so long to get out. He's in ICU, and I didn't realize that. So that kind of told me like this really is serious. So they lead me back to his room, and I say, I'd like to go in that tone that clearly says, fuck you, I'm going in. And they talk a little bit, and they said, yeah, but you just have like 3 minutes. Okay. I couldn't do it. I just stood outside of the door, just kind of gathering myself, or trying to find the balls to see this man who, when I walked home one night from a school function and there was somebody following me, strapped on his gun belt, and I quote, went to go kill the motherfucker. This is the man that I judge all other men by. All of them. I finally went in. And as I pushed through the curtains, I could hear all the beeping and all the dripping and the machine breathing for him. So he's in the bed. His body is in the bed. And I can't feel him. I couldn't feel his heart. I couldn't feel his soul. I couldn't feel my dad, who right now I can feel. And he doesn't look like himself. He looks like a manatee. He is so bloated. They've put him in a coma. His eyebrows are crazy, which is not like my dad. He's untrimmed. He's blotchy. He's bloated. He's got a friggin' catheter. We stayed there for 5 days. And on the 4th day, they brought him out of a coma. But he fought it. So they put him back. And I remember thinking, I'm going to lose my dad. I won't have somebody to text me ridiculous Republican shit anymore. I won't have somebody send me links to like peace websites and be like, you should probably join. Or say shit like, I always thought you were the prettiest. You could get back there if you wanted to. There's no gray with my dad, man. It's black or white. And I remember thinking, I would give anything to hear those footsteps again. Anybody who's Facebook friends with me knows that my dad texted me a couple of days ago and said, hey, you're half my age, how does it feel? I came this close to losing it.